did you get the discussion guide that Jason sent through?
Actually, no. So I'm sorry if I missed it. Let me see if I have that here.
Don't worry about it now. It's just because I wanted to just level set before we start, get a sense of how much you know about this project that we're doing, what the objective is, just so we can set the stage and you understand sort of why we're speaking to you today.
Yeah, sure. No, I appreciate any context you can share.
Okay, great. So we're working with Persona and starting this research project really with the goal of helping them to develop a really strong marketing positioning strategy to help communicate their value better to clients. So we've been talking with people who've used them for both recruitment or their coaching services to try to understand a little bit more about your perceptions of Persona, what you feel like the value is, your experience you've had with them, just to try to understand a little bit more firsthand what was the experience of working with them so that we can help them better articulate their story in marketing. So,
sure. And by the way, I have the discussion guide and I'm just looking at it right now. So, but no worries, please keep going.
Yeah, no worries. And I think it's really more of a rough guide because sometimes it helps to set some parameters first, so you understand sort of where we're going with some of the questions. But it's definitely not a script, and we want you to be, it's a conversation more than anything else.
Sure.
Yeah, and so, we're going to be recording, but it's definitely anonymous, so feel free to be open with us about your experience, good or bad. And before we do any sort of analysis, we'll make sure that the recording is anonymized.
Okay, sure, no worries.
Cool. So that's about us. So I wanted to start having you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came to work with Persona and how you heard about them, how your engagement started, etc.
Okay, sure. So I know Roger because we used to work together at Nokia. So this was, I think this was the years, 2000, and I think I met him around the mid-2000s, and then, I think we worked together till about 2008, and then, Checkpoint acquired, his part of Nokia, so he was off to Checkpoint. So that's how I know him. I think I met his wife maybe once around that time, but I just know Roger at work. So how I got to know Persona was in their previous incarnation when they had their Kiwi name. I think I started working with them for placement, and they placed me into a job, into a role. This was 2015. So the first time I worked with them professionally was 2015, and well, actually more like end of 2014. So that's how I got to know them.
And since then, have you use them again for another placement, or are you still in the job that you were placed at in 2015?
So right now I am working with them on a position, a role, and I have attended one of their workshops. It's about the perfect pitch. So my last, I think I'll probably be seeing Roger tonight. But my last interaction with them, was maybe 4 weeks ago at the Perfect Pitch or something. Well, actually it was end of June, so more than 4 weeks. I think it was, end of June, basically.
And what was your experience sort of both for the placement and also, what was your inspiration in starting to do the Perfect Pitch and what was that experience like?
Okay, so one thing at a time. So first one was the placement. I have, and I'm looking at some of your questions here. I have worked with other headhunters, or other recruiters, but I have never been placed by a recruiter aside from them. I seldom work with recruiters. Most of my jobs, I interview directly and I get the job. So this, I have limited experience working with recruiters. But if you ask me how was it working with them, I mean, yes, it was great. I guess we probably should get into specifics. If you have some kind of framework, the different steps and different phases, if you have, any particular questions about how they did on this or that, I'm happy to try to elaborate as much as I can remember. But, I was very happy with what they did, which is why, we have this relationship, and I've, continued to talk to them. I mean, of course, the personal relationship helps as well. In terms of perfect pitch, I think it was probably the, I don't know, the, third or fourth or fifth time they were doing it. I get a sense, and this is reinforced by what Roger told me previously, that they are trying to expand from just, placement services, I hope I'm using the right term, to career guidance, and counseling and all that kind of stuff. So they don't, I guess they're trying to move, and again here, I'm using my own words, right? I guess they're looking at the, at a broader part of the value chain. I guess they're looking at at the broader, life cycle, for a candidate. I guess they're looking into value add. I guess they're trying to sell a more holistic and complete experience rather than just a transaction. I guess they're trying to have a relationship, and they have these drinks things, once a week. So, I mean, that's my sense of them. So I think that Roger's wife probably has been a recruiter, for a lot longer. Today they're in business together, and I think Roger is probably trying to bring, a new perspective, and I think, I think his wife is fully on, with him as well in terms of the vision and the journey for this company. I guess that's why they have been rebranding. I guess that's why they have been engaging with, global experts on different topics that might be interesting to candidates like myself. And they've been getting these people here. I think, I think he's really trying to pivot the business from a mere, placement, service to something that's more holistic and I mean, there's a whole lot more, relationship versus transaction, a whole lot more upsell as well. Does that help?
Yeah.
That's my perception.
Yeah, I guess my question is, did your experience doing the perfect pitch seem to match up with those goals that they've set? Do you find it useful and applicable to, deepening the relationship and all the things that you just mentioned?
I mean, I think it's a good effort. I think that I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, they're on a journey. I think this is one of their first, in my opinion, I mean, from my understanding, it's one of their first initiatives, in terms of a product service type thing that I know about. I mean, I'm sorry if there are more. And I think it's useful, but I also think that there'll be a whole lot, more that's coming. Now, if we talk about perfect pitch, specifically, now I feel that, a perfect pitch could be about, and I talked about this previously, it could be external or internal, right? So external meaning, we are complex, creatures. The point about perfect pitch could be what are the correct combination of ingredients that we want to combine and position and communicate, right, to a potential employer. So that's the external part of perfect pitch. Now, the internal part of perfect pitch is kind of like there are so many, trajectories we can be on with our career. How do we find which one we truly, love and have this, calling, for, right? So, for me, when I stepped in a perfect pitch, I thought it would be more external. I realized, the workshop is a little bit more internal, and maybe they're trying to do internal and external. I feel that the internal part is what, I've gone through some of these at some of the companies I work for. The internal part is something like career anchors, right? I mean, do you like meeting people? Do you not like meeting people? Do you like to own things? Do you not like to own things? Do you like create things or not? Do you like to manage a team? The bigger, the better. You know, all individual contributor versus team manager, blah blah blah, right? So, I mean, the internal stuff, I mean, is one thing, right? But the external is quite different. I feel that even perfect pitch can be broken up into these two components, or more than these two components, so that there is you know, there's and that could be version 2 or it could be a future iteration, but that would be it would get, I mean, you get more mileage, right, whichever perspective you're trying to pursue, internal or external. So that's one thing about perfect pitch. But is it useful? Yes. I mean, a lot of times, you know, with the internal career anchor stuff, you know, it changes over time, different phases in our careers and our lives. And for me, you know, I think the workshop helped me kind of collect my thoughts. I mean, I don't spend, you know, 4 hours, 6 hours, whatever it was, you know, thinking about these things in such a structured way. So I think the structure was good in helping me, you know, rethink these things. But you know, at the same time, I mean, in my case, I mean, you know, I feel that I know where, you know, I knew what the answer was, and I guess the journey was what was important for me to rethink the reasons. But again, I mean, sometimes, you know, the so-called dream job may not be practical to pursue, right? So I mean, for all kinds of different reasons. So I mean, so that's my 2 cents. I hope that helps.
Yeah, yeah. And have you, I mean, you mentioned you did it back in June. Have you found that since then you've sort of used some of the outcomes from the pitch, or, you know, found it directly applicable to anything?
Yeah, of course. I think it's, you know, I mean, anytime you spend time thinking about, you know, what is it you truly love in life, and what, and how you want to communicate it, of course it becomes, you know, it becomes more, you know, back of your hand, you know, tip of your tongue, and you tend to use it more. So yeah, of course, you know, the thing was useful, and the workshop was useful, and it's helped in those ways.
That's really helpful. And I want to take a step back, actually, because I realized I didn't ask you, first of all, sort of a little bit about yourself and what you do, just so we can set the stage and understand a little bit more about about you.
Yeah, no, sure. And actually, that was the other thing I said at the perfect pitch. I think that it would be yeah. I mean, I think that at least for my session, I think, you know, different, you know, the folks in the workshop, you know, we didn't know each other, we didn't know each other's background, and maybe it's meant to be that way from a private, anonymous, you know, perspective. But you know, as we work as a team to help each other, I think it helps if we know, you know, who, you know, the other people are. So I mean, to your question, I work in technology. Specifically, my background is computer security for the first 10 years of my life, and then mobile stuff for the next maybe 10, 15 years of my life. So I'm in my mid-40s now, and my functionally my jobs, you know, my jobs have moved from technical, you know, as an engineer in the first couple of years of my life, to startups, general management, entrepreneurship for a couple of years, 4 years, and then on to heading product marketing, you know, for this part of the world, you know, product management at global HQ actually in Finland, and then you know, I was an industry analyst for a couple years, for 3-4 years. So that's my background, and so it's security first 10 years, and then, you know, after that mobile. Functionally, I'm like product type guy, product marketing. And, you know, I spent some years in startups, raised some, you know, got a term sheet from a VC, filed some patents, you know, built a team, blah, blah, blah. You know, that kind of stuff. If you'd like to know more, I can tell you more, but that's me in a nutshell.
No, I think that's helpful for us to just set the stage for kind of like how, you know, how you were approaching Persona and the kinds of jobs you were looking to get placed in, and sort of the progression of your career. So it sounds like you've moved through a bunch of different roles on your own, sort of direction evolving, and maybe it sounds like you're proactive in trying to find the next thing. Is that something that you feel like, what we're trying to understand for persona is sort of, should they be talking to people who are already hungry for lots of dynamic change in their career, or should they be talking to people who feel a bit lost and are looking for direction?
Well, I think they have to do both, right? I mean, that's my guess, but maybe the offerings, should be tailored accordingly. I mean, my sense is the people that are actively searching for a job, seeking a job, those are the people that will be more engaged, and maybe the cycle is shorter. And then for the folks that are, comfortably in a job, happy, most importantly, and kind of just looking occasionally, I mean, that sales cycle, if I can use that term, is probably going to be really long. So I mean, from a mixed perspective, I think they should have both. I mean, one is high intensity, the other one's kind of like spaced out. But if they, I don't think it would be right for them to have just one of the two kinds. From a placement perspective, I mean, I think they need both as well. I mean, that's my 2 cents. But in terms of talking to people, these step interviews and trying to figure out what can persona do to help. My guess is both, and I think the answers will be different.
It almost seems like there's a different value proposition they have to share and a totally different way of engaging with the people who are highly engaged versus people who might be.
So I myself, I belong to the actively looking for a job, camp. I just moved back from Taiwan, and I'm looking for a new role, here. But for me, I mean, I'm kind of distracted by doing something on my own, which I've done before. So I'm a little bit distracted by that, and so I can say more if you like, but that's me in a nutshell.
I'm interested actually if that sort of decision they help you with as part of their recruitment approach. Do they talk to you about the pros and cons of making the decision about whether you want to do something on your own or whether you want to go back within an organization? Is that part of sort of the process of thinking?
So they can't, well, no, so I don't think it's part of the process I experienced, but it was a strong part of the perfect pitch. For me at perfect pitch, I mean, the whole thing was about this, to get a job or to start something. But you see, I don't, that's the, okay, so my frank comment is I don't think it's easy for someone else to help me with this decision. It's a really, really big one, right? And, I mean, doing something on my own depends on on many things, but the two most important ones to me are what's the idea, right? What's the business opportunity of whatever it is, and what is it I want to do, the what, right? And the second is who's in the team, right? And the third is maybe personal stuff about financial responsibilities, appetite for risk and investment and blah, 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 right? So, I mean, okay, so there are three, not two things, right? I don't think someone else can help me with that, you see. I mean, that's my, I don't know, I could be wrong, right? But that's my gut feel. I mean, if I had to tell everyone about all my little intricate details, right, I would have figured out the answer myself, right? I mean, so again, the idea, that's really hard, right? I mean, there's several ideas, and you need to work on each of them, and a lot of times, from past experience, sometimes you take one and you just do it and you make it work, right? It's not so much crystal ball gazing, right? So how do you do that in a workshop? I mean, you cannot, right? So the what, the team, and the personal, financial, risk, and whatever stuff, right? So those three things. So I think so it's hard, right? I don't expect them to answer this question for me. I mean, so then in terms of a job, it depends on what job, right? I mean, there would be a whole continuum, right? So there would be the kind where, you honestly know that, oh, no, not again, it's the same old thing. Yes, I'm really good at this. I'll do this in my sleep, right? And I'll just get the paycheck. And then there's the other type where you feel like, oh, my God, this is so awesome, right? I'm going to spend my life doing this, and as usual, I won't look at my stocks for 10 years, and I'll just give everything to this job. Again, I mean, you can't figure that out in a workshop. I mean, it depends on what you find on the table. So that's
Yeah.
my problem. How can a workshop, help me on those two fronts? I think that they can give me frameworks and tools.
Right.
They can help, right? But I still need to answer that question.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a really, personal decision. What they've been telling us about their coaching services that they are trying to help people make that decision almost as part of this process and mixing almost the search for a job with the search for the answers to all the rest of the personal questions. And I think it's really difficult. And we're trying to figure out also whether recruitment should be a part of coaching, and should they be sort of, have a permeable membrane where those workshops can bleed over and recruitment clients can take those things and coaching clients can find jobs, or should they be separate? Like you said, should it be more about when you're looking for a job, just, let's talk about work and not about my personal life?
Yeah, so I can see why, as I talk to you guys, I'm thinking and, I can see why they want these type interviews. And actually, I can just talk to Roger about this. And I mean, I'm very open about this. He's my friend. And, I would say that, okay, let me try to think about this some other way, to try to help. So they want to help me. And I guess if I turn the question around, what can they do to help me more than they have done? Well, first of all, these events, should I think one suggestion, right, just a suggestion, don't try to boil the ocean, right? Don't try to solve these extremely hard and personal questions, right? But position it as this is a complex decision, and we cannot answer it for you, but we're going to take you on this little journey where we'll help you discover yourself. We will make you think of things, we'll make you make decisions, we will make you make choices, right? And you will walk away clearer about a bunch of things. I think that might be that might set the expectations right. And then there will be people that that like me, that's satisfied. There are people that will be very cynical, who the people that want the question to be 100% answered, and they have no idea how to answer it. They expect to pay and get an answer. I mean, those types of people will be, they're hard to please. They're not practical. They're not realistic. But I think it comes down to if they're truly interested in this. I think you could create a pretty systematic, pretty structured framework, right? You can try to. You can really make it quant as well. For the people that appreciate quant, and make sure it's qualitative to people that don't want a nickel and dime, small numbers. But at the end of the day, something concrete, right? That kind of shows some consideration, elaboration on this topic, and and kind of the choices people make, right? I don't know. That's my thought, and I think, okay, does that make them more sticky? Yes, I guess. It does make them as a firm more sticky, and but to me, aside from that, the stuff that they could consider doing another suggestion about how to make it sticky. My guess would be, I think these weekly drinks things, are great, but I'm sure it's going to be a drag, right? They have all these candidates, some that they don't want to see showing up, but I think it's a good thing, and I think they need to manage the attendance somewhat softly. But the thought I had in my head was some regular events, industry speakers, vertical focus, functional focus, people sharing about new technologies, what they do at work, what's happening in certain industry. I think if they had these regular events, I think it would also keep candidates in their ecosystem, and this might be kind of a way to keep these passive job seekers, keep them warm. And then I guess the people that show up tend to be the ones that are more actively looking for a job. So maybe that helps them filter as well, the propensity to move thing, So that's my idea. I mean, I think that it's good to do, you know, this coaching, you know, as an addition to placement, but there's only so far you can take it. Is I guess my point is, I think to myself, and to create stickiness and to build that relationship, I think there are a lot of other things, right? So I feel like I guess I'm putting my thoughts together. The perfect pitch is one of these tools, one of these programs. I think they need several, and I think perfect pitch could be broken up into at least two, right? Internal and external. And then, I mean, look, I mean, for a job seeker, very practically, resume rewriting, you know, or you know, interview, you know, mock interviews. I mean, people don't really do that around here much, but I mean, those things really count, right? So, or even consultation. Like, I'm going to interview for this position in this vertical. I'd like someone to spend an hour with me so I can bounce some ideas off. I'd like them to hear my position, my so-called perfect pitch from an external perspective, and give me feedback. So you see what I mean? I think there are a lot of services they can sell. It's not kind of it's not exactly like what perfect pitch is today, but it's kind of like it. I hope that helps.
Yeah, no, I think that's really helpful, and I want to be conscious of your time. I know we have only a minute left. I do have a couple more questions. Can you stick around for maybe 5 minutes more? Okay, cool.
Yeah, sure. Go for it.
The community aspect of it is something that Roger's also spoken to us about, and I wanted to just get your sense from it, because it sounds like something you're also really interested in, and you think that other job seekers would be interested in. He also wants to figure out how to make that more of an online or digital thing. Do you feel like that's something you would be interested in, or is it more about the in-person event side of things?
No. So I think online is huge, and I think the digital stuff. I mean, you know, I don't like to physically show up for these things, right? So online is in fact my preferred route. So I mean, another example is in the U.S. A lot of big companies use these engines to scan resumes for keywords and things like that to kind of filter candidates. I don't even know if they do it here, but my guess is that the large MNCs, especially the American ones, I'm sure they use the same engine that HQ uses. So so as a candidate, one thing is before I submit the resume, and let's say I'm customizing them for every job, how about a SaaS service that allows me to upload my resume to the persona scanning engine, so I can see what, you know, that firm probably sees when they scan my resume. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's one example of digital. Yeah, then of course you have all the collaboration portals and all your Slack type stuff, your forums. I mean, you can do that, but I mean, you know, these things are easier said than done. You don't build and they come. You need to, you know, create a lot of pool, which is a lot of content and all that stuff I talked about for events. I mean, you got to do that digitally. It's a lot of work, but yes, I mean, would that be great? Yes, of course. You know, I mean, there's a competing firm out there that has a for fee, you know, portal with job listings. It's region up. I don't know how good they are, but I mean, that's another example of I think they're Japanese. But anyway, my 2 cents on the topic.
Yeah. And then, because I think that's something, we've looked at a couple sites in the U.S. that are heavy on content that helps people who are maybe perhaps warm leads sort of like engage with the company before they attend an event or reach out for recruitment services directly. And I know it's a huge undertaking, but I think it's something that could be really valuable to Persona if they wanted to undertake that.
I think,
Yeah. Before we let you go, I just wanted to like follow up on recruitment in general. You mentioned a couple competitors, so if you could summarize maybe in like a one sentence what the difference was between the other companies you worked for before and working with Persona, what would it be?
Okay, so my answer might be biased because I know them, right, personally more than the others. I feel that Persona is more personal, but you know, I'm sorry, I know this is very skewed. It's because I know them, but I do find that they are more personal. I mean, with the other firms, I mean, the feeling I get is it's very clear who they work for. They don't work for me. They work for their client. And
Yeah.
what they're trying to do, I mean, if I, I'm not talking about any particular one, but if I try to aggregate it, the biggest beef I have is they are trying to find someone doing the exact same thing on their job rec somewhere else, but in the same industry, ideally a very similar type of company. And I guess it is their job to find this this almost like clone, and this position a bunch of clones, right? And I mean the part that a lot of these firms, kind of one thing that really one of my pet peeves is have these guys ever met people that can succeed in whatever the hell they want to do? I mean, I mean, like, if they just look for a perfect fit, I mean, I think you can use Google to do that. I think they'll be replaced by a machine pretty soon. But that's my biggest beef. I'm not. I think that persona feels more, and I think, I say this because my work experience and the stuff I do, I feel is not so common in Singapore. So I mean, I create products in China, I create products in Taiwan. Singapore is a much smaller place, so it's I feel this a lot, right? So but anyway, that's my 2 cents. All right.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay.
Thank you so much for spending time.
No
wait, hold on. Jason's here. He's got 2 more questions before we let you go.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. Hi, Jason.
Yeah, I'll make this quick. You mentioned that you did Persona helped you with placement. How did you find out about the perfect pitch, or how did they introduce you to the perfect pitch? And so that's the first question.
Okay, so Roger simply said that we have this thing coming up, and I think he was kind enough to send me an invite. I mean, there was a URL to the registration site for the program when it was in its early stages. I don't know what's the price now, but I think I got a very good deal on it. I think he wanted to just reach out to friends and contacts, and my sense is that they're early in the process of this program, and it's kind of a soft launch, and they're trying to learn from it. So I think it's win-win. So that's how I found out. It was just Roger sending it to me.
Okay, interesting. Okay, the other question, last question, is you mentioned there were, there are external and internal aspects.
Yeah, that's right.
Did Persona or Roger tell you about the other services they have?
No, actually, like what? Sorry.
Like the transformation plan or brand book, or did you find out anything about the other services they have?
No, I have no idea. I do not know about the other things. Sorry, I sense that there's a lot more going on, and that's great. I'm very happy to hear that.
Yeah, but I mean, we're actually interested in finding out like how people progress in their relationship with Persona. So like we have a sense of understanding how they could potentially grow clients internally.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to hear that they didn't tell you about all the rest of the
coaching. Yeah, it could also be that, like you said, because Perfect Pitch was new, then maybe they didn't have transformation plan and all that. So.
Yeah, no, this was end of June, right? So I mean, the other thing is, I think Roger asked me to like this stuff on social media, and I didn't. So maybe maybe they thought I wasn't so hot about it or something. But I appreciate it. But the reason is just that I'm not active on social media. I'm not. I don't use Facebook at all, right? So I just have this profile, and I never do anything with it. So that's kind of the reason. Maybe that's why.
Yeah. Great. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us.
Hey, no worries. But thanks for the info. I'll go talk to Roger about the rest of the stuff. All right.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take care.
Have a great day.
Good day.
Thanks. Bye-bye.